What's going on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here. If you're new to the channel, I make Charlotte Hornets content, so if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail title of this video, in today's video, we're going to be talking about guys who I want to see the Charlotte Hornets pick up in round 2. So, for some reason, I didn't know this, but round 2 starts at 4 p.m. today, so I will be tuning in, but it was just a little odd. But anyway, I'm going to be talking about some guys I want us to pick. As you know, in the first round, we picked Tejan Saloon out of France, an athletic wing who I think is going to do a lot of great things in Charlotte. I like his game. I like that how far his game has come along. As young as he is, he's already shown that he's improving day in and day out. And I think that we have a bright future. Pair him, LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Mark Williams. The reason I said don't say Miles Bridges is because I don't know if he'll be here, especially with that pick, because that pick is just more of a future pick. And by the time Saloon really becomes who I believe he can, or even close, Miles Bridges will be 2 years into this deal, and then it's like, what were his first 2 years? You know what I mean? So that's kind of why I don't feel like he's coming back. We'll see. Plus, Miles Bridges was talking about anime, like it almost seemed like on purpose during this time, just because. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like he's coming back. Either way, we're going to talk about these guys. I have a few guys here. I don't know how many. I think it's 10. 10 is a lot, but I have some guys who, obviously I think the Hornets might need to trade up for or stay where they are. Other than that, past 42, I kind of left it alone because I think the Hornets can find some pretty good guys at 42. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first one I would like to mention is someone from Duke. And as a UNC fan wearing a UNC shirt, actually, it doesn't feel good saying this, but Cal Filipowski from Duke. Big man, can stretch the floor, not as much as people like to give him credit for, but he shows signs. He can pass a little bit. He can play, either big position. He can play the 4, play the 5. And I think, he could be a really good pick. He defends the rim pretty well. He's an active guy. Like, he plays hard. It's just, I think he doesn't have the quick feet that you would want him to have. He's not, as much as his build kind of resembles someone that's a stretch 5, he's not stretching the floor as you would intend. So I think that's maybe some of the reasons he's felt falling off from being, because I have him ranked 21. So for the fact that we're talking about him potentially, he wouldn't be at 42, but he would be early 30s, and the Hornets would have to trade up. That's kind of crazy. I'm assuming it's the negative wingspan. I'm assuming maybe he didn't have the workouts that most people intended. I heard that Montes Buzelis didn't have the workouts that a lot of people thought he would. So, yeah, Kyle Filipowski, a guy to look out for, a guy we'll probably have to trade up for. But he does add some versatility to our big lineup. All right, sorry about that. Yard people came. But next, after Kyle Filipowski, I would like to get Jamal Shead from Houston. He's a 6'1 guard. No, it doesn't sound appeasing. We have actually too many guards. But he brings something that I don't think we get from any of our guards, and you can even throw Cody Martin into that, whether he's a guard, wing, however you view him. And that's defense. He is a very scrappy defender. He's a guy that can self-create. He just does a lot of things well. I have him ranked at 28th on my board, which could be a little high, but I'm very high on him. The only thing I would lean away from is the fact that he is a guard and we just have so many, but I think he brings something that we don't typically have. Trey Mann, I think he's a good defender, solid defender, but he plays more so. His real defensive potential comes from playing the passing lanes. He's exceptional at doing so. Jamal Shead, on the other hand, is a more on-ball, point-of-attack defender, and I believe we need that. With a healthy LaMelo Ball, with Trey Mann, I think guys like Micic becomes expendable. $8 million contract. I don't know where he would go. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but you get Jamal Shead in there. We have Trey Mann, who I believe has shown that he can make more than he's given credit for. I would prefer to have Ched, to have someone to be that point of attack defender. He just does an exceptional job at it, and then it's not like his offense is lacking either. The only reason I feel like he's not getting more love is he shared the court with Marcus Sasser until Marcus Sasser got drafted, and then also he's just 6'1". But if you play him in the right role, which is the backup guard, or you can even have him as the backup, one of like the backup off guards. I think he can provide a lot of talent there. He can provide a lot of help with his defense, and that's something we don't have. As many guards we have, we do not have a guy that can be a point of attack defender still. I do not trust Cody Martin at all. And then, that's really it. And I don't know what we're going to get from Miles Bridges. And I would prefer Brandon Miller not to guard the best player on the opposing team and then turn around and have to average 20, 22 a night. So getting a guy like this, of course, he's not going to be able to guard the biggest players. He's only going to be stuck to one position. But we don't have anybody to guard that one position. Next, we're going to say Nikola Duricic from KK Mega Basket. He's a wing. He improved his shot. That was the biggest thing. I liked him last year, but everybody main talking points was his shot, and that, hey, with a better shot, he'll be a better player. And I mean, that's self-explanatory, but he went back to KK Make a Basket and became a better shooter. A significant driver, has a good way of getting to the basket, has a good way of playing off ball, has a good way of playing with the ball. Solid defender, I mean, could be better, has the tools to be a better defender, but overall, I like his game. Another wing. And I think we need more wings. We need more size. So as much as I like Jamal Shead, I would kind of prefer a wing, but I couldn't pass up on a guy like as good as Jamal Shead. But Nikola Jurisic, I think, is an excellent player. He shows that he can put in the work and continuously develop his game, similar to what I've said about Tejan as well. From Kansas, we have Kevin McCullough Jr., a guy that I think is a good wing, 6'5". He's more of a wing. He's a 5-year player, so that scares away some people. But some people had him in their first round. He just kind of fell out. I think the Hornets will probably have to trade up for him. He could possibly be there at 42 because of just yesterday was so crazy. So you just never know, but I think more than likely the Hornets will have to trade up for him. He's not a ball handler the way people kind of want him to be. He's more of a catch-and-shoot guy, has a good feel for the game, good defense. I think that's something he can hang his hat on. And I'm big about, okay, what does this prospect, if they don't become the best version of themselves, what is something they still can bring to the table? And that's defense. So with improved shooting, with high IQ, I believe he has as a guy. One, I mean, it does help playing the game for so long, being a 5th-year player. But two, he plays that smart. He's just that kind of guy, and I really like what he'll be able to bring to the team. I like being able, especially after we got Tejan yesterday, I like having a guy that has some experience, kind of bring him in, and you're not asking him to do too much. Like I said, you're mainly asking him to catch and shoot. He can handle the ball at times. I know that I've said this about other players, but he also kind of what they try to get Cody Martin to do, you can get him to do cheaper. And I think a little better. Cody Martin, I think, is just done for, mainly his injuries. So, yeah, Kevin McCullough, definitely a guy to look out for. Next, we have Jonathan Mogbo from San Francisco. I think he's 6'6", wing, 220. Excellent rebounder, excellent playmaker. The problem is he can't shoot. So I think that's something you have to think about. Second round pick, I'm a little less lenient. Like I'm more so leaning towards, what is your defined skill? How good are you? How can we maximize that? And his defense is incredible. On ball, off ball, doesn't matter. Like I said, excellent passer as well. A guy that can create for others. He can't really, he can drive. So I would say he can get shots up himself, but he's not like a self-creator, self-spacer. He's going to need, other guys to do that. With guys who I believe, Tejan will improve his playmaking ability. We have LaMelo, we have Brandon Miller. Mark Williams is a pretty good passer when you think about him passing from the paint. Trey Mann, Micic, all these other guys. I think that Jonathan Mogbo will be able to kind of find his lane with our team. Just that you can't ignore that defense. It's incredible. And some people had him even higher than this. He's someone that definitely could fall to 42, and I would run to the podium, honestly, if he was at 42, depending on who else is available, because I will admit there's a couple of guys that I like more. But, yeah, Jonathan Mogbo, excellent player. Like I said, I think he does need to improve, get some kind of shot. But considering all the guys we have that can handle the ball, who can play make, he can get away with it depending on the type of offense we run. From Kentucky, we have Justin Edwards, who is a guy who I think a lot of people expected to be top 15 pick coming into last year. He just didn't quite have that. I feel like that happens with a bunch of Kentucky guys that get so. I don't know if it'll happen anymore because John Calipari is gone. But Kentucky gets so many players that they can't play everybody, and then people fall off for it. And then some end up being, still going to the NBA and playing well, some not so much. Justin Edwards, I think, has an ability to be a pretty good player. He's a two-way guy. He's not going to be someone that will blow you away on offense or blow you away on defense, but he's formidable at both. And I think that's something we need. We just need talent. Get talent into the building. And I think he can do that. He can play on ball. He can play off ball. I think his game really expands off ball. That's where you're kind of going to see him do the most damage, especially for us. But overall, I think he's an incredible player. I have him at 39 on my board, so 42 is definitely feasible for him. But his three-point shot, I think it was good. You want to see maybe, because he didn't take that many, is that something that's sustainable? I believe so. I don't think there's anything wrong with his shot. It's just college, spacing, Kentucky. It's just so many factors. So I really would like to see what it's like him getting playing for us. It's not like we have formidable wings that can really take minutes away from him or prevent him from doing anything. I think he can come in and show early that he's a guy that deserves a roster spot. From the College of Paul Millsap, we have Isaiah Crawford, who went to Louisiana Tech. 6'6", 220. I think he's a guy that really will benefit being with the Charlotte Hornets. We have playmakers, as I've mentioned before. We have guys who are willing to pass, and I think he is going to shine off that. He's not able to really create his own shot per se, but he definitely will knock down the shots that you give him. And I say the reason he's not able to create his own shot because he's not really quick, but he does find a way to get to the basket. He does find a way to put up a shot, and he has a really good release, though it's slow. But I think he's a really good player. He shows that he can shoot over the course of his career. He's just dealt with injuries, so that's something you have to think about. But when he plays, he's phenomenal. So you have to weigh the injury bug and see kind of how you feel about it. But I think he's a guy that can really benefit from playing with us because it's not like that he's going to be asked to do too much. We need guys, honestly, to kind of fill out the back end of our bench because we have a bunch of players who they're okay. They're just not doing anything when they get their minutes. You don't really see them shine. And that shine, I don't need you to score 20 points. I just need you to be able to hit shots consistently. And you don't have to put up 12 points a game. You just have to. You can show me that you can shoot on good splits consistently. I don't have to worry about one game you're scoring 16, next game scoring 2, and then fouling out. I will be perfectly happy with that because I believe that's probably the biggest problem with our bench is that it's extremely inconsistent. And really, those guys are still all trying to find themselves. We need guys that have a defined role and let them work. And I think he's one of those guys that can do that. I know the injuries are a concern, but not having him do too much, having him just let the game come to him, let everybody else do all the work, I think that will benefit his injury, and I also think that will benefit his game. All right, so one of my favorite guys in this draft, no matter first round, second round, doesn't matter, is Oso Ighodaro from Marquette. He's a big. He unfortunately he cannot shoot. He's not a stretch big, but his playmaking ability is going to allow him to run a 5-out necessarily. He's not a threat to shoot, but he's such a dynamic playmaker for his position. He can be the pick and roll ball handler. He can run in the pick and roll. He has a nasty little floater that feels like it's automatic. He's just a very smart player. Plays defense. He can guard 4 or 5 positions, and I'm honestly not exaggerating with that. I will be okay with him guarding certain guards in the NBA today just because he's just that good of a defender. I just like really the offense. I mean, considering I think his defense is tremendous. I think his defense is probably the best part of his game. But I'm really blown away by his offense because a lot of times you look at bigs and say they need to shoot, which I get. I believe bigs should be able to have some type of game to at least make them a threat. And while I don't really think he has that, his playmaking ability, his IQ, the way he's able to run the offense at times, it's enough to have, you have to bring your center out because he can play make from the perimeter. He doesn't necessarily need to be in the paint. As I mentioned, before, Mark Williams is a pretty good passer out the paint. Oso doesn't need that. He can. I wouldn't say run an offense, but he can bring the ball not necessarily up the court, but he can initiate the offense and kind of let things develop and make the right read. And I feel as though that's just as dangerous. That's honestly just as dangerous because you're still going to have to pull that big out, and they're not going to be able to just sit in the paint. There's going to be teams that still do it to try out. I get it, but I think if you have the right guys around him and the right actions going on, I think it's going to be a tough matchup because this guy is just incredible, and I really like him. His defense, like I said, is by far his best skill. I just really love his offensive ability and how he's just not a rim runner. Lastly, we're going to talk about a wing from the University of North Carolina, and that is Harrison Ingram. I'm not saying that because I'm a homer. I'm saying that because I actually do like Harrison Ingram. I think one thing I really like about college players is that if you're able to show real progression, and I think he's done that. I do want to see how real that shot is. He shot just enough where it was like, okay, it was good enough, but we saw times if you watch college basketball, if you watch UNC, that at times our biggest problem was, not really having a consistent third guy between Armando Bacot and RJ Davis. So Harrison Ingram, when he was able to fulfill that role, the team won. The team was firing off on all cylinders, but he wasn't able to do that consistently as far as scoring. He's a tremendous rebounder, tremendous defender. I really like his size. I really like everything about him, especially physically. I think he's going to be able to be someone that physicality alone is going to maybe carve a role into this team. It's just a matter of how effective can that shot be. He's not really dynamically athletic. He's not this crazy, athletic wing. But like I said, he plays good basketball. And at this point, I think we need good basketball players, and he's definitely one of them. That does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm going to keep trying to put out content as much as I can. I say that every time, and it's hard. It's hard. Life, being a father, just trying to find the time. Normally I usually do videos during the draft, but I was one, doing a podcast, and two, I was so tired after the podcast. I just didn't feel like recording, especially staying up late, letting the video render, edit, all that stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed this video as they come out today, as the second round will be today. And then of course, when something happens with the Charlotte Hornets, I will be here to give you my thoughts and give you the analysis. So once again, thank you so much for supporting the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.